And where down we go, 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 go. Oh, where down we go, 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 go. So where down we go, way down we go.
This is Larry Connors USA. Larry Connors USA.
Oh, you let your...
We all knew that the Biden administration was going to be bad, but none of us even imagined just how bad they would be and how far left they would go. He never talked about this. We would have those wonderful debates. He would never talk about this. We didn't know what the hell he was talking about, actually.
That is again President Trump appearing over the weekend at the CPAC conference, Conservative Political Action Conference. And it's very clear who is still leading the Republican Party. I know there were some out there saying, oh, he's done. It will never happen again. And I'm not saying that he will run again in 2024. I don't know. But I think what you're going to have to consider is that when you see that kind of response from him, you need to be aware that there's still a play to be made by Donald Trump, either as a candidate himself or someone he anoints, maybe his son, or maybe someone else. There are those, of course, that were hoping that that second impeachment would make him unelectable, that folks would not want him anymore, that he was just bad for everybody and everything. And, of course, a lot of it also hinging up on what happened on the Capitol Hill on January 6th, the riot that took place. No one is happy with that. I'm not, never have been. But sometimes you're looking at the alternative, are you not? There may be some folks, and I will have to say I was among them when it came to Clinton, Hillary, and Trump. For those of you who have not been with this program all this time, I said repeatedly, when all of the candidates are running, out of all the 15-plus Republican candidates, when Trump was in the fray, I said repeatedly, he was not my first, nor my second choice, not even my third choice. But when all the dust had settled, it was Donald Trump standing with the GOP banner. And then my choice between Hillary and Trump was so easy. That probably is what a lot of folks have been thinking about Trump at this point. Even those who did not vote for him this last time around thought we'll get rid of him, he'll never surface again. And they were voting, maybe not even really liking Biden, maybe not even liking the left aggressive, progressive movement, but they thought maybe if we kind of go along to get along, and once we're in there and Biden is in the office and we can begin to make sure he doesn't go wacko on us. I got news for you. Are you listening? Just between us, you and me and all the rest of you listening. Joe Biden is still going wacko. He has agendas that are being put in his hands on a daily basis. Just look at Dr. Rachel Levine that he was nominating the other day for one of the highest positions in Health and Human Services. A man, now a woman, who wants to push transgender training and teaching and surgeries and whatever is involved for confused young people, as young as 3-5 years old, confused about their sex, gender, because a little boy likes to wear dresses or a little girl likes to play with trucks and tractors. that somehow or another we, with a Rachel Levine in the Department of Health and Human Services, kind of helping oversee how we're going to deal with what they're considering a crisis in our nation. Joe signed off on that, and everything else the left has put in front of it. The only thing he has done so far to upset some members of the left is that he didn't push hard enough on some of the things they wanted. And this AOC and that far, far left side group, they're already getting a little PO'd at him. They don't think he's being strong enough in some areas they want. And I think that they're already, and it should come as no surprise, they're already searching for a way to exercise the 25th Amendment and get him out of office. That would be that he would be incapable of fulfilling his term. If you use that amendment, you have to have the vice president agree to sign off on it. Does anyone listening to my voice have any doubt that the VP, Kamala Harris, would say, give me that pen, I'll sign it right now? For all I know, she's already signed one, and Pelosi's holding in her hand, waiting for a date to launch it. And after this last weekend, when Joe Biden flew down to Texas and stood there and started trying to talk about various legislators and representatives, could not remember their names. Couldn't remember their names as he tried to call them out and make note of them and praise them. He could not get their names right. And he even muttered at one point, I'm going to let you hear this in the second hour. You want to hear it directly, but let me give you my interpretation of Joe Biden. He's stumbling around, can't get the names right. He knows he's kind of botching it and everything. And he says, in a softer tone, but a microphone is still there. It's still open. In a softer tone, he says, what am I doing here? I mean, what am I doing here? Joe? Look, if the man is having some cognitive issues, it's nothing to laugh about. And botching some names, I mean, it's hurtful to the folks that didn't get their name pronounced right. They might be more upset than anything else. Things like that will happen when you're doing something live, but you have to ask, well, where exactly is Joe Biden? And don't forget, last week we pointed out to you that Democrat members, drafted a letter and circulated it among other Democrats and even to Joe Biden's office, right to the Oval Office, placed on the Resolute desk for him to see, and saying, you need to give up control of the nuclear codes. The codes that would be used, activated by the president in the event he thinks we need to launch nuclear attack. The president is the only one that is authorized to use those codes. And they're already saying, you need to give up some control of that. Do they know something behind the scenes we really don't know that hasn't come out yet? You cannot count on the leftist media, the now not mainstream media, but state-controlled media, to give you the facts and truth of what's going on. Who knows what they're hiding back there? But if that letter's out, that tells me that they have some real reservations about Joe Biden. He did launch an attack the other day, of course, hitting some targets funded by Iran along the Syrian border. And I'm thankful that he did. I give him credit for that, because they'd been firing into our green zone, killing one American, threatening others. But that didn't make the left happy. You'll see, wasn't happy with that, nor others. So they're probably already finalizing some plans to serve that notice that, Joe, you need to step aside. And he gave them more ammunition over the weekend, literally, when he stood there and said, I don't even know why I'm here. Really. But what he has done, folks, what he has done already in the time he's been in, he has damaged America already. He's taken us from making America great again and America first to America last. But along the way, he's getting support from GOP members. I want you to hear Donald Trump from the CPAC conference over the weekend as he talks about some of these GOP members. Just listen to this, please.
Instead of attacking me and, more importantly, the voters of our movement, top establishment Republicans in Washington should be spending their energy in opposing Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the Democrats. I've said to some of them, I said, during the Obama years and now during Biden, if you spent the same energy on attacking them, you'd actually be successful, as you do on attacking me in many cases.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And by the way, a piece in Politico points out the title, The Republican, talking about Congressman Jim Banks, the Republican trying to bridge the Trump-Pence divide. That Jim Banks is trying to reshape the Republican Study Committee to align with the ex-president still ruling the GOP. Now, since Trump and Pence were out of office, they pretty much have gone their separate ways. Pence back to Indiana, Trump retreating to sunny West Palm Beach. But the Republican Study Committee, the largest caucus for House GOP members, as pointed out by Politico, and its newly minted chairman, Congressman Jim Banks, Republican, Indiana, wants to kind of bring the former president and vice president's approaches together, put them together to become a force for the next step of the conservative movement. Now, again, Banks is a 41-year-old member of Congress, small-town Indiana, very much as mild-mannered as Pence, but his roots are firmly established with Trump. And Congressman Jody Arrington of Texas, is a close friend of Banks, and said, even though his style is somewhat understated and subdued, Jim Banks knows what needs to be done, what problems need fixing, how to fix them. And to that extent, there's a lot of fence mending that needs to take place inside the GOP. What Trump says, for all of the folks that have been talking about just creating a new and third party, here's his answer.
And I want you to know that I'm going to continue to fight right by your side. We will do what we've done right from the beginning, which is to win. We're not starting new parties. They kept saying, he's going to start a brand new party. We have the Republican Party. It's going to unite and be stronger than ever before. I am not starting a new party. That was fake news. Fake news, no. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Let's start a new party and let's divide our vote so that you can never win. No, we're not interested in that.
Good. Speaking of fake news, some news groups have finally started paying attention to Cuomo. We'll deal with that before we're done with this hour.
You can connect with Larry on Twitter @LarryConnorsUSA.